In this episode, we are back with Matt, talking more in depth about him and his kinks and what the life of a switch is like. He gives great advice about getting into the kink scene and the many positive outcomes as a result. So whether you're a seasoned kinkster or curious to explore, sit back, relax, lube up and slide into Matt's world of kink. Welcome back to the Life of Tashmia. I'm Tash. Today we are back with my good friend Matt, who we talked previously about being in the kink scene and also having a kink business. Today we're going to talk a bit more about being a switch and being in the BDSM scene itself. Welcome back, Matt.
Thanks for having me back.
Now, I wanted to first ask, how do you balance being a switch with your personal relationship?
So being a switch is, I suppose, in the play aspect of things.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, I as I said before in the other episode, I identify as a cis male.
Yeah.
So traditionally, I believe you're equal with your partner. Sort of tackle life together. Sometimes a guy's got to do things. Sometimes your partner's got to do things. So being a switch doesn't really come up.
Mm-hmm.
Unless we're playing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So does that mean you have dedicated times during the week or whatever, the month or whatever it is, where you're like, this is the time and place we're going to be in these roles?
So at the moment, it's more of just a random thing. So most people explore their kinks or enjoy their kinks when they can.
Yeah.
Then, like you were asking, there's others that have a lifestyle, a 24/7 situation where, it might be a female-led relationship.
Yeah.
So the guy is always at a level of being submissive.
Yeah.
Through most things, or I'm not that way inclined.
Yeah.
I believe, a guy's got to do what he has to do and make decisions sometimes. I'm still an individual, very much.
It's still an equalitarian relationship.
Yes, 100%.
So when you're with a new partner, if they're not from BDSM scene themselves,
Mm-hmm.
how do you approach it?
So what I have done in the past is I lull them into a false sense of security. I show
not what I thought you were going to say.
So I show them that I'm a sane person.
Okay.
I'm a sane person, fun-loving,
normal. In inverted commas.
Normal. If I see things getting more serious, there's momentum, there's traction happening, I will tell them that I have these fetishes or I have these interests.
Yeah.
If they run for the hills, so be it.
That is exactly the word I used, but I'm more direct with people. So literally I started, after I kind of figured out, because I'd go into these long-term relationships and think then I'd be able to change them. And then I realized to get them into my kinks. But then I realized that didn't really work.
No.
So then as soon as I met someone, I would just blurt it out at them straight away. And then I used to say I'd get two reactions. Either they'd run for the hills or they were intrigued.
Yeah.
So is that kind of what you're like, they'd either run or stay?
Well, yeah. Pretty much. So I don't go on a date expecting that person to be the one every time. So it's not something that I feel as though it needs to come up.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, maybe 5 years down the track, then you tell them you know you're into stuff. Just kidding. But yeah. So yeah, I believe that you know, especially if they're not used to kinks, you know, communication. Are you open-minded into this? Do you have any interests that you've never explored? I think one of the reasons why I am a switch is because growing up, I've always had to introduce individuals to kink. They've said to me, "Oh, you know, it's been an interest."
Yeah.
But we've never taken that leap.
Yeah.
So I found myself always doming from the bottom.
Okay.
Well, yeah. So in other words, sort of instructing.
Yeah.
But at their own speed of, you know, you can do this.
Yeah.
You can do that. You know. So guiding, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's very hard, but yeah, you have to realize that the person hasn't got 20 plus years of experience. It's probably frightening. They might have their own levels of shame or self-consciousness about liking these sort of things. So, like I said in the previous episode, I've come to know that you have to respect someone's headspace.
Yeah.
You know, not push them. Oh, this is what I want. This is what I like.
Yeah.
You know, if someone doesn't know, you can turn them. You know, you can make them run for the hills. They can. They just, oh well, this is too much. But if you slowly introduce things like I said, I've got quite an extensive collection, but you know, if it's the person's first time with anything kind of kinky, you know, like nothing wrong with using household items like stockings or scarves or something for a little bit of light bondage, you know. No one starts out, or hopefully no one starts out with this massive impact play, which is you know, where you use paddles and canes and all that
draw
sort of thing.
blood.
Yeah.
I always say my motto is start slower than slow and softer than soft. And I even gave people who had, like, sometimes I get couples to come to me to help them. Generally one partner has more experience than the other one, and that's kind of why they're probably seeing me. But I say, and often it's a male sub who wants their female girlfriend to become more dominant. That's more the training.
It is quite common. So,
and I say start with simple commands. You're not going to go straight into a scene and be full on dom, no matter what style of dom you are. Like I'm more of a sensual, sarcastic, sadist dom. But even if you want to be a mean bitch dom, no one's going to go straight into some extreme scene being like, do this, you know, and then shouting around at someone. I said, do things as simple as like, make me a cup of tea. Start that slow, because you might not even be used to giving someone a command. So that's as like as little as it needs to be, and then you build. So I think that's a really good point you make. You know, don't shock someone. Don't come up and just be like, "Well, here's my closet."
Well, it's supposed to be fun. You know, both parties are meant to be having fun. So, if you come at them and you scare them, like, you're basically not giving them a chance to make a choice, because it's just information overload. I'm out of here. You know, and kink doesn't have to be scary. I mean, the stuff I see that I'm like, no way. You know, keep that shit away from me. But it's my choice, and it's where I am in my journey. Other people go in different directions. That's the beauty of kink. There's so
many directions. How important it is when you're dating someone that your kinks align?
Oh, okay.
Has that ever been a deal breaker? Because it just did not align with each other's? Or were you kind of able to navigate and negotiate?
Okay, yeah, good question actually. So I've been quite fortunate that most of my partners have embraced kink. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I've taken it at their speed. I did date. So one of my partners, she was from a swinging background, and yeah, she was very much into you're just quickly getting into the physical.
Okay, yeah.
You know, like bang, 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 next.
Okay, yeah.
Whereas I'd never been into the swinging scene. I was actually I'm from quite a monogamous background.
Yeah.
So I'm used to you're with a partner, you're staying with the partner because they're enough.
Yeah, okay.
You know, you're not content, but you're fulfilled.
Okay.
You're not looking.
Yeah.
Like if you're looking, there must be an issue.
I would disagree with that.
Oh no, 100%. No, I totally get that. I get that now.
Yeah.
Where I am in my journey,
yeah.
But back then, it was the very stereotypical.
Yeah. If someone's looking elsewhere, it's because you're not enough or something.
Yeah,
like that kind of mentality.
Or they're not happy.
Yeah,
correct.
yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
So, so she said, you know, she was into everything, but I got mixed messages often. Mm-hmm. So that left me quite confused. So often, like I felt I was topping from the bottom once again.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was fun, but it's not totally fulfilling being demisexual.
Yeah.
Like there's that level where you can't completely let go.
Yeah.
You know, so that in that situation, I actually made a lot of compromises, and yeah, I suppose I was left quite unfulfilled actually. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And how do you think one can overcome that?
Well, you can do the extreme thing and just say, look, we don't work together.
Yeah.
This is a part of me.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling as though, I'm not happy, basically. If they're willing to try, I mean, cool. But if it's just not in them or it's just not their thing, and it's not.
Yeah, it's not for everyone.
It's not for everyone.
Yeah.
You either stay in a comfortable situation where you're not happy, or you make that hard decision and leave. It depends on how big a part of that kink you want it to be in your life. Yeah,
it's interesting. There is, just from like people that I've known in and out of the scene, especially people who don't even share it with their partners. Obviously, because I'm a professional dom, I probably see that more than most people, I guess, in the kink scene, because I've said this before, 60, 70% of my clients, I'm the only one who would know that they're submissive.
Yep.
So I think there are a great deal of people who do sacrifice a huge part of themselves to be in a relationship.
Yes,
and
100%.
Whether, some of them I know even socially never even brought it up with a long-term partner.
Yep.
Because they were that scared to even bring it up.
Yep.
Maybe some people kind of like would dabble and see the reaction, and if it wasn't positive or if it was very negative, then they've just pulled out. But they've stayed in that comfortable vanilla vanilla.
Well, it's
situation.
I'm sure you've heard of friends or friends of friends that they were married for 20 years. The guy leaves for a man.
Yeah.
Now, they didn't just automatically or all of a sudden become gay.
Yeah.
that's always been there, and they've made that compromise to themselves, bury that true part of themselves to live the stereotypical life. Some people can do it. I choose not to because I want to live,
Yeah. And I find it really disheartening.
Yeah.
That's the situation that people with, which I've always said is one of the reasons I wanted to start my brand, was to de-shame kink.
Yep.
Because I don't think people should have to practice in the kinky closet, as we call it.
Yeah.
Back to yourself. How would you describe your ideal dom?
Okay. Probably, well, not probably. Creative, sadistic, but in a cheeky way. So, like I said, I'm a sensualist, so I'm not a pain slut. I'm not into copious amounts of pain. So cheeky, sadistic. Yeah. Creative and sensual. Like kink to me is a bonding experience. It's a level of intimacy. I like kink because it's not only satisfies me physically but mentally. Yeah. So
it's a very mental thing, isn't it?
100%. Yeah. I mean, there's subs out there that will tell you that, they go into subspace. Yeah. And they're in heaven. Yeah. So often subspace is achieved by just having them laying there in whatever, maybe a latex or a leather body bag, or just spread eagled on a bed with headphones and a goggle on or something, and that level of because they're left to their own brain, their own mind, they're in this vulnerable position where they can't do anything, and they let go. They just let go and head into subspace.
Yeah, which we've talked about before. Just a quick recap: subspace kind of explained like a transcendental meditative space. You're a bit floaty, that kind of way to describe it. What's your relationship with subspace?
I've never really achieved it. Basically, because my past, I've always had to have a level of control. I have had instances where, I'm totally helpless and full sensory deprivation. I suppose my experience or my level of subspace is, all right, I don't get into a meditative state, but I do feel at ease. Yeah. I feel content. I'm happy.
But do you think that's your version of subspace?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, 100%.
Yeah.
But to the point where people say they go into like this, out
of body,
floaty, this dimension where, I personally don't think I've experienced it, because I think it's because I've always had to have a level of control.
I actually, I love someone saying that. I don't think I've got to subspace, because I don't know if you found this, but in the kink community, there is almost a pressure to get into subspace. And I'm not even just meaning like a dom to a sub. I don't mean that way. I mean on themselves. Yeah. So I even have that with clients, especially ones that are regulars or have been practicing BDSM a long time. I can tell some sessions they just can't get there. And they get really down upon themselves because they couldn't get there. Oh, yeah. Even more, I kind of think it should be my fault more than anyone's. But especially like, they've had a hard day at work, or they've got family issues, or there's something going on in their life that's preventing their mind from kind of really just switching off. You can always tell, and you always have a little chat afterwards during aftercare. But Do you find that it's almost like this thing in the kink scene that's put on a bit of a pedestal?
Yeah.
Because obviously you've had a long career practicing BDSM.
Yep.
With you personally saying, I don't really know whether I've actually ever been in subspace, but you're still very happy practicing BDSM without it.
Yeah. Well, I would say I'm addicted, 100%.
Yeah.
I think we're heavily bombarded with social media, and people keep showing these ideals.
Yeah.
And the ideals sometimes are just purely fantasy. It's a nice thought, but the reality of it is we're all at different stages of our lives. We've all got different things going on in our lives. And yeah, sometimes it's just not attainable.
Yeah.
It's for me anyway. There's certain boxes that have to be ticked.
Yeah.
Being demisexual.
Yeah.
I have to have a connection. Does that person that I'm relinquishing control to have the creativity? Do they can I let go?
Yeah.
And though I trust everyone that I've ever played with, I'm yet to play with someone that has more experience than I have, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So there's always that that level where I suppose I don't reach.
Okay.
That level of, oh my God, wow, where did that come from?
Yeah. Okay.
Everything's been quite safe for me. And then, previously I was talking about levels.
Yeah.
So not often do I go past that level.
Yeah.
And just with my life at the moment, opportunity's not really there, because it's with my partner. It's very hard to allocate times. It's very hard to say, okay, this is when we're gonna do this.
Yeah.
Because life gets in the way.
Yeah.
Things come up, emergencies or whatever, whereas for you, an allocated session, you've planned it. They're there for that. Nothing's going to stop. That from happening.
Yeah.
Whereas when it's a private partner, it's as you know, life just gets in the way.
I mean, it's hard enough for again, inverted commas, normal relationships to have date nights.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you know? Let alone plan and prepare for a BDSM scene.
Yeah.
So.
Well, see this, and this is where vanilla and kink differ.
Yeah.
So vanilla can just happen anywhere, anytime.
Yeah.
With very little help. Just.
Yeah.
And whenever the passion and the urges, it can just happen anywhere.
Yeah.
Whereas with kink, if takes a little bit of preparation, accessories, outfits.
And I think me and you are probably people who could take it for granted how much access we have to do what we want when we want. I mean, you've probably got the world's biggest closet ever of kink materials, and I have my own dungeon that I work from. So whenever it's much more accessible to us, and even us probably finding the time to do it.
Yes.
Is still going to be a challenge.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. How do you communicate with your partner during a session? Do you like to have the pre-communication? I know you'll have a negotiation before a scene, but do you, with your partner, fully get into character and then use safe words, or?
So we've been together for a while, so she's quite familiar with what I like.
Yeah.
And basically, half the time I'm gagged, so I can't talk. I mean, there's been the odd occasion where, I've been super uncomfortable or got, a dead shoulder or something, and I've had to sort of pull the pin. But
what's your safe word?
I've never really pineapple.
Oh, you're a pineapple?
No, I don't know.
You're not going to tell me. You're going to keep it a secret.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So communication, because we live together.
Yeah.
We play together. It's quite organic, the play.
Yeah.
It happens at roles. Yeah. We do things together, and it all works quite smoothly.
Okay, yeah.
I suppose if you're seeing many people,
yeah,
and you're having different levels of play with different people, it's very hard for it to be organic.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily saying it's impossible, but you've
got to discuss it more.
Yeah, you haven't got that
flow
that partners have.
Yeah. I always say, even in my professional scenes, especially with first-time clients, whether they're a newbie to BDSM or not, I always say I allow talking in my sessions.
Mm-hmm.
I, in fact, encourage it, especially for the first ones, because I'm getting to know you,
100%.
You're getting to know me.
Yep.
I said we can keep it within scene for the power dynamic. So things like mistress may ask a question, mistress may make a request. So it's still kept within the power dynamic and the scene, but I'm like, the more I know, the better the scene's going to go.
Yeah.
So, and if you're with someone that you're in a relationship, I guess your scenes are probably going to go much more smoothly.
Longer, could be all night sort of thing.
Yeah, which is the dom that trained me when she was in here, she would talk about these 5-hour or more sessions.
Yep.
Taking breaks for sustenance and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But it's a kind of a different dynamic, I guess. Do you believe, being a switch yourself, there's a difference between sub and bottom?
Yeah. So the easiest way I can describe it is a bottom is a physical player on the receiving end.
Yeah.
A sub is a mental thing.
Yeah.
It's they're mentally submitting to the dom or top.
Yeah.
Whereas a bottom is submissive through physicality.
Yeah.
They're tied up, they're restrained, whatever.
Yeah.
It's generally a mental thing.
Would you say kind of bottoming is forced submission almost? Why a sub is voluntary? Not force as in actual force, but set up.
Like situational. Predicament. Everyone's different, but I think bottoming is you're just the receiver.
Yeah.
Yes, you are letting go of control. You've consented to being on the receiving end, but you might not necessarily be mentally submitting.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So it's more of a physical thing. It's
physical versus mental.
Yeah. It's like if a dom were to tell me to do something, I might do it, but I'm not like, oh my God, she's given me an order. I'm not a killjoy, so I'm not going to ruin a scene or a play session. But as I suppose because I am a switch, I haven't fully embraced, I suppose, the mental aspect of being a submissive. It's just my character. I suppose is like the idea of a service sub. I don't get it.
Yeah.
You know, like people love it.
Yeah.
People love being told what to do and doing things. And,
Yeah.
like, cool.
Yeah.
But I could be on the lines of, well, why can't you do it? Maybe.
So, what are your preferred kinks and fetishes?
I suppose, as you know, rubber and leather is pretty high up there. I enjoy wearing them. I suppose it's like becoming a superhero and changing your persona. It puts you into the place, into the session.
Like a uniform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love all the accessories, all the accoutrements. I love, for me, a big thing is a heavy restraint.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose, like I said, because I'm a larger individual, I like that I'm under their control and there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah.
To the point where if I can get out,
yeah,
I feel cheated and I will probably attempt to get out. So
I can imagine that with you, actually. Yeah.
So yeah, I actually got it not into trouble, but many years ago I was playing with a dom, and I was forever getting out of her ties, and not to hurt her feelings, I would just stay.
Yeah.
And it was sort of like in my mind, it's like, well, this is a bit shit, but then basically I told her, which was actually a good thing because she went to town.
Okay.
Not only did she bind me, but then she mummified me in glad wrap.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, get out of this.
Yeah.
So it's that communication that made it fun for us both.
Yeah.
Whereas, if I had have just shut up and, like sort of rolled with it, like we both missed out.
Yeah.
So
you've always got to have a debrief. I always have a debrief post session. What you like, what you didn't, what's more ofs, less ofs.
Yeah. And I don't think a lot of new people do that.
Mm.
They sort of
people don't even do it in the vanilla world.
That's what I mean.
Like people struggle to say what they like in the bedroom just to get them off.
Yeah.
They'll just like, how many women fake orgasms?
Well, that's that. And to me, that's terrible. That's a travesty. It's like if you tell me what you like, I will do it.
Yeah.
All right. In my opinion, like I said, guys are quite easy to get off. We've only got, in my opinion, one erogenous zone, and that's downstairs. Whereas women are a lot more complex. You've got behind the ear, the neck, all the other spots. So if you don't say anything, not every guy is Red Cosmo and Cleo and it's been so avid in trying to please a woman. Yeah. For 30 odd years, it's if you don't communicate, things won't get better. Yeah. They could get worse. Yeah. Communication is key in anything, in my opinion.
Yep, definitely. So, latex.
Yep.
Heavy restraint.
Yep.
Anything else?
So like I told you, pushing boundaries. Yeah. So
what are your hard limits and what are your soft limits?
So I'm not into blood or like scat. Yeah. Like cutting and needles and stuff.
That's hard limits.
Yeah, that terrifies the shit out of me actually.
Do you have any soft limits that you have pushed the boundaries with?
Like I said, I never thought I would be into anal play.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd be into pegging.
Mm-hmm.
But I ended up enjoying it. The whole thing of chastity, I've never gone long term because, with my lifestyle and just my personality, I've never really, I can't really wear it long term. So I've only maybe, a couple of days at max. But
just quickly explain what chastity is.
So chastity is basically usually it's a device worn by a guy that stops him from being able to touch his penis.
Yeah.
So I've sort of been playing around with that for the past couple of years. It's interesting, but just with my lifestyle and just working in an industrial situation, it's not always the safest to be wearing a metal or a plastic cage around your dick. But chastity can be as much as see, this is the thing where submissives and bottoms come in. If there is a connection with your top or your dom, they could tell you not to touch yourself.
Yeah.
So
it's that physical versus mental again.
Yeah, that verbal chastity, so I suppose I don't know what my soft limits are. Like I said, I'm not really into heavy pain. I can cop a little bit.
Yeah.
I can probably cop more dull pain.
Yeah.
So sharp pain, like a heavy spanking, that kind of sends me the other way.
Yeah.
I stop enjoying it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dull pain, like nipple clamps. I mean, those clover nipple clamps, they're my arch nemesis. They bring me undone often, actually. I thought I was a big tough guy, but when those things come off, oh my God, I'm rolling around in pain.
I think males and females have different sensitivities.
Yeah.
I mean, females can take more pain than males.
Yeah. Okay.
Like corporal punishment, nipple torture, any of that stuff I've done on a male versus a female, we can take way more. It's nuts. The hardest I've ever had to try and hit someone is with a female.
Okay. Yep.
Like I literally could not probably hit hard enough.
Okay.
Like physically. But do you think a very big misconception is that BDSM is about pain? Like that's the only thing that BDSM is. It's just about being in pain. Because I love the fact that you are very into BDSM and you're not into pain. But do you think most people, if you say I'm into BDSM and they're not educated?
100%. Yeah. So the stereotype that shames us all is it's this cold, stern, hardcore mistress who doesn't care about your well-being. You're lesser than them, and they put you in a world of hurt.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, there's some people that are into that.
Yeah.
That's not for me, and it's contrary to all my professional friends anyway.
Because the dominant is the caretaker.
Yeah.
Like the submissive or bottom has given up this, you've said it before, this huge amount of trust to the dom or the dominant player in the scene. And you're there to kind of guide and lead. It's not, guide and leading is more of what the action is rather than just submitting someone to a copious amount of pain.
But see, this is the thing. So in social media and whatever platforms, people are bombarded with this hardcore mistress that, is hardcore into humiliation and just going to town on a submissive. What they don't show is afterwards, they're all giggling, laughing, and like it's a show.
Yeah, it's a scene.
It's a scene.
Yeah. But you're right, even with porn scenes of BDSM, you don't see the pre-chat and the aftercare.
Well, see, like what you're saying. So for me, what led me with Kink into Kink was I could see a formula in porn.
Yeah.
I could see, dude turns up, orders a pizza, the girls can't deliver, can't pay, so intro to the funky music and this and that. So that got very boring to me.
Yeah.
Whereas with Kink I saw a lot, because it's such a big umbrella of different things. Like I was always seeing new things, and like I was saying previously, you never know it all.
Yeah.
You know, like 2 years ago, I didn't know I was into pegging.
Yeah.
You know, it was this taboo that it was actually more than two years ago. But so I was gonna say water sports is a hard line for me.
Okay. Yeah.
But to me, through my professional friends and that, I'm starting to think to myself, well, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it is actually quite coming out is actually quite sterile.
Yeah.
But you know, you do it the right way, I suppose, in a controlled manner. You know, it could possibly be fun.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm going to do it, but if it came up, you know, I'm actually on the fence on that. I'm not sure. You know, like, get me riled up enough.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You know, get me worked up enough. But that's possibly a limit that I'm willing to jump over.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
That's funny. I was just thinking a similarity for me is like anal sex.
Yep.
Like I enjoy anal sex. But you got to get me riled up enough to do it.
Yeah.
You know, you can't just go straight in for it.
No.
It's like you got to get me in the right space.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah, 100%.
You can't just go into something.
Well, you can't. Well, you shouldn't anyway. Like,
well, especially with that one.
You know, you just got to breathe and relax. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Can I ask, what's your thoughts on punishment and discipline? Do you think they're essential to a BDSM scene? Do you think it's just part of the scene?
So I suppose so. In order for the scene, like being a dom and being a sub, it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
So not everyone is I suppose sadistic and vice versa masochistic, but the people I have ever dealt with anyway do have a sadistic streak.
Mm-hmm.
So because it's a two-way street and I enjoy the giving up of power and letting someone take control, I should also be willing and open to what they enjoy.
Yeah.
Which is they might enjoy punishing someone, you know, tormenting someone. So like I said, I'm not into heavy pain. So levels of torment, you know, tease and denial, for example. Yeah.
But punishment doesn't have to be pain.
No, 100%.
It can be like, I'm not going to touch you for the next week.
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
So, well, that puts that individual into the headspace of she's, you know.
Yeah.
She's still got control.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would personally say that the way things are, punishment and discipline are a part of BDSM. I've always known it as a crucial part. It's how you do it, like you said.
Yeah.
And I suppose that punishment puts the sub, into the headspace of being dominated.
Yeah, the power dynamic.
The power dynamic.
Yeah.
Because, as you would know, certain tasks would put forward, the bottom could quite easily touch themselves in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or whatever.
I always say at the end of the day, the sub has control.
They do. But that's because we live in an age of consent. So yes, they do. But but the sub often gets off or enjoys not having to exercise that ultimate power.
Yeah.
Really, that ultimate power is safety.
Yeah.
So yes, they can call stop.
Yeah.
But when you don't want to, and you're being pushed to your limits, that's how you are experiencing that fully letting go.
Yeah.
And look, once you've reached your limit, all right, you use your safe word, or you stop the scene. But when you have a connection with someone and you've been pushed to your limits and they know it, and you didn't have to use your safe word or exercise your absolute power, that's where it becomes fulfilling, and you enjoy it.
Yeah. It's a really interesting thing. I had a similar conversation with Alex, the dom that trained me, about pushing someone to their limits, and also the role of a dom to read that and to read that correctly.
Yeah.
She said, she takes it quite hard upon herself if someone has to call her red, and she has had it, and it's a learning experience. But you can also see sometimes when a sub is pushing it, they're not using that word. They're really pushing it, and it is your job to, even though they're not physically saying it, the safe word, to know when that boundary is about to be crossed.
But in defense of your friend, who knows what that sub's day was?
Yeah.
Who knows what they'd gone through between their last sessions. So what might have been okay isn't working today, and they've called red.
Yeah.
She shouldn't. I hope she doesn't feel so bad, because the person could be a different individual that day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hence the safe word, because you don't know where someone's at.
Yeah.
You can't assume.
Yeah.
But when you're in tune with someone, you can sort of hopefully feel it. But when it's someone you see once a week, it's hard to know.
Hers was in a personal scene. But
okay.
But you are right. I don't think, even if it is with your personal partner, again, you both go to work, you both have your own separate lives. You don't know what's happened exactly leading up.
Well, she could have had a shit day too,
Now, how do you feel about BDSM as a form of personal growth? Slash therapy.
Okay. Well, it has to be, for me, BDSM.
Was it the vehicle for you?
I don't know. I mean,
or did it precede it, if you know what I mean? You had to do the personal growth to get to be there, or it was something that helped you do the personal growth?
I think being single for 5 years actually helped me develop the most. But how do I know it's an essential part of my life? Like I said, I'm addicted to it, and I couldn't live without it. I suppose. Well, for me, it can be a letting go, a wind down. I have a pretty hectic life. Often having to call shots, direct things, implement action to make things happen.
So for you, it's kind of a form of people go and see therapists and decompress and stuff. So
that's kind of where I was going. Yeah. It's like, I think so. It's a getaway. Like, some people drink and do whatever to escape their daily grind. When I'm playing, I'm focused on that.
Yeah.
You know, the other noises in my head, for me anyway, dissipate.
Yeah.
You know, I'm in the moment. I'm only worried about that. I can, I feel better.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
It puts you in a more positive headspace, maybe. Or happier.
I'm happier.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty happy person anyway. That's the other thing. People think that kinksters are all damaged people, but reality is a lot accomplished, happy people.
And I think to practice BDSM, as you said, communication is key.
Yeah.
So to be someone that can communicate about this stuff, you have to be someone pretty in tune with yourself.
Yeah.
Someone who's done a lot of self-work. So to just even be in the kink/BDSM scene, I think generally, and actually studies have shown this, they actually have a higher ability to communicate.
Yep.
So what advice would you give other male subs in particular who are new to the scene or maybe even just in the closet about wanting to explore their kinks?
Yep. Well, it's up to the individual how strong they are. Like, are they shy? Are they someone that's you know, it is an individual thing, but they have to realize that the scene exists, for starters, obviously. Yeah. They're not alone.
Yeah.
So it's nothing to be ashamed of. The kink scene, when you're with the right people, because like any scene, there are bad people in there, but when you're with the right people, they accept you for who you are. They should respect your speed in which you engage.
Yeah.
Maybe start off with, going to munches, like we said previously, a vanilla event where you're in a vanilla setting.
Yeah.
No one knows that you're all kinksters except the people in the munch.
Yeah.
And connect with people. I mean, often I hear guys, they feel alone or secluded or start off with munches. I mean, there is FetLife. I'm not a huge user of it, but there are like forums on there that people talk on,
and they can go out and find out. I guess it's, as you said, it's easier now. We have the internet.
Yeah, social media.
Yeah. Lifting it up a speed. What's the funniest thing that's ever happened to you in a scene?
This is gonna sound terrible. Well, actually, no. So I was playing with my ex, and basically I was in a full cat suit. All the accessories I love, wrist restraint, ankle restraints, collar, hood, chest harness.
Yeah.
She had just strapped me down.
Yeah.
Spread eagle, full chains and padlocks. And because latex is hot, we always have the aircon on. And the chill went through me to the point where I had to go to the bathroom.
Uh-oh.
And she had to let me out completely so I could go to the toilet.
And you made it in time?
I made it in time, but it was a critical mass.
I love that. And last question I'm going to ask you today. What's been the most positive thing that's been a result of you being in the kink scene and practicing?
I suppose my mind being opened up. There's all walks of life in the scene. I mean, I'm still coming to terms with the it, they, them.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit old school. You know, I was just used to, you know, if you see a woman, that's a woman. You see a guy, that's a guy. There was bi, straight, gay. Like, things were a little bit simple for me. So I'm appreciating where people are at and appreciating where people's identities is probably something that I'm happy to be experiencing from the kink scene, because I wouldn't have seen it anywhere else. You know, you don't, because it's such a comfortable place, people are willing to say I'm a they.
Yeah.
You know. So I suppose having my mind opened up to be able to empathize with people.
Yeah.
I was very poor at it. Growing up, you know, my opinion was my opinion. You know, it's the whole don't be upset.
Yeah.
You know, like, all right, I'm conveying to you I didn't mean to hurt your feelings.
Yeah.
But now I recognize that I have hurt your feelings, regardless of my intent.
Yeah.
So how do we fix the problem?
Yeah.
So, I suppose from the scene, I think being a more open,
empathic,
individual.
Yeah. I think that's beautiful, because, you know, you can see that you have brought to the scene and probably to our relationships a lot of your knowledge and communication skills and expertise about BDSM and how to do things.
Yeah.
But it's actually given you so much in return.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. In these past 3 years alone, I've made many close new friendships.
Yeah.
So, like I said previously, I was in a 5-year hiatus. I think when I came back, there might only be a handful from that previous time that I connect with now.
Yeah.
And the amount of people that I connect with now is probably triple, quadruple what was prior.
Yeah.
And it's good for me, because that's that many more people I can be myself and open with.
Yeah.
You know, well, when I was growing up, that avenue wasn't there. That avenue, that level of shyness, or I wouldn't call it shame, but I always felt as though most of my friends wouldn't understand.
Yeah.
You know, I'm the kind of person, if you don't like who I am, see you later.
Yeah.
But I don't want to stir the pot either. So I don't have to show them that side of my life.
Yeah.
Whereas nowadays, most of my circles, most of my social events revolve around people that are more like me.
Yeah.
They might like different things. They might approach things differently, but we're still under the same umbrella.
Yeah.
And we can all
connect
and no judgment.
Yeah.
So, it's been good that way.
Love it. Well, thanks again for speaking with us. Again, have had our minds blown in many areas. And as always, to my listeners, stay kinky.